Netflix hit gold with Stranger Things, a supernatural 80s-style thriller about a group of kids uncovering government secrets, fighting monsters from the upside down, and forming unforgettable bonds. But while the show looked like fun and chaos on screen, life on set came with a surprising number of strict rules, especially for the young stars. Now, here are some of the surprising strict rules the Stranger Things kids had to live by on the set. No glitters on set. In most TV productions, the makeup department is king, and Stranger Things was no exception. Since the show is set in the 1980s, the makeup artists needed clean, blank canvases to recreate that era-appropriate look. That's why all the kids were expected to show up to set with totally clean faces. No foundation, lipstick, or especially glitter. And yes, glitter became an infamous issue, thanks to Millie Bobby Brown. In an interview with NPR, co-creator Ross Duffer shared how one morning Miller arrived on set completely covered in the sparkly stuff. She was like, "I don't know where this glitter came from," he said, clearly amused and exasperated. David Harbour is not going in covered in glitter. Wow, the glitter proved so stubborn to remove that it delayed filming by a full 45 minutes. Now that incident was enough to unofficially ban glitter from set altogether, and while the Duffer brothers didn't punish her, after all she was just 11 at the time, it's safe to say the production team never wanted to battle glitter again. Millie Bobby Brown had to act like an alien. Millie Bobby Brown's standout performance as 11 is a highlight of the series, but to nail the character's unique energy, Brown wasn't just told to be mysterious or quiet, she was told to act like, well, she wasn't human at all. In an interview with IndieWire, Brown revealed that the Duffer brothers gave her a very specific instruction early on. "They told me the performance they wanted me to resemble was basically E.T. She said, basically, you're going to be an alien." That creative direction made perfect sense. 11 is a girl raised in a lab, cut off from regular human interaction, and only just beginning to experience real friendship. Comparing her to E.T. helped Brown shape her body language, speech patterns, and emotional connection with the other kids in a way that felt both, well, strange and heartfelt. It was a genius move that paid off in unforgettable scenes. Joe Keery couldn't cut his hair without permission. Steve Harrington's transformation from jock to beloved babysitter is one of the show's best character arcs. But aside from his redemption journey, Steve is also known for his luscious, perfectly sculpted hair. Now, that glorious mane became such an essential part of the character that actor Joe Keery wasn't even allowed to cut it without approval. As reported by GQ, Keery doesn't casually book hair appointments like the rest of us. His hair is under contract, and changes had to go through the show's higher-ups. It may sound excessive, but imagine Steve showing up in season 3 with a buzz cut. Fans would riot. The maintenance of his famous hairstyle was no easy task either. Sarah Heinzgall, the show's head hairstylist, used a styling technique she called the cat paw to get it just right. "We put product in it and then you squeeze like a cat," she explained in an interview with Mashable. "I get all the texture into it and dry it hard into his hair, so we get that wave." Keery admitted in a 2022 interview with the Daily Beast that while the attention his hair gets is out of his control, he can't complain. "It's just internet fodder that's now attached to me, but I have a career, so I'll take it." Interview rules were super strict. Avoiding spoilers for a show like Stranger Things is a major challenge, especially with such a young cast who are navigating fame for the first time. Netflix took serious precautions to prevent any leaks, going so far as to issue detailed interview guidelines. Francesca Reel, who appeared in season 3 as lifeguard Heather, revealed to Cinema Blend that the cast received a comprehensive list outlining what they could and couldn't say during press appearances. "They just sent a massive sheet out to all of us," she said, noting that it included everything from plot details to vague topics to steer clear of. Netflix even secured the early screeners with passwords to keep content under wraps. "I'm personally very scared of Netflix on a large scale," Reel admitted, only half joking. "They're a massive company and I'm always nervous that someone will hear something and it'll get back to them." So far, their system has worked. Most major spoilers stayed quiet until the episodes dropped. No visitors allowed on set. On many film sets, it's not unusual for actors to bring friends or family along to watch the action unfold, but according to Gaten Matarazzo, that was a firm no-go on the Stranger Things set, at least for the younger actors. "I'm never allowed to bring people on set," Matarazzo revealed on Michael Rosenbaum's Inside of You podcast. "It's super under wraps, no one's allowed on set." The fear of leaks and spoilers was so high that the production team made the set a mostly closed environment. Interestingly, Matarazzo noticed that this rule didn't seem to apply equally. It's confusing because I'm like, I thought you told me I couldn't, he said, referencing instances when co-stars were spotted chatting with guests. While he didn't name names, it's easy to imagine adult cast members being given a bit more leeway. Still, Matarazzo was understanding about the policy. Nobody would want to go and just hang out, he admitted. It's a long day. It's a 13-hour day doing the same scene over and over again. So while some sets feel like a party, Stranger Things, it was all business. They had to rock real 80s fashion. A huge part of Stranger Things' success comes from its detailed homage to the 1980s, and that includes the wardrobe. The young cast didn't just wear outfits that looked vintage, many were the real deal. That commitment had its downsides. Joe Keery once joked to Seth Meyers that wearing vintage jeans felt like slipping into a baseball glove, very tight in a lot of places, he said. Not only were these clothes less flexible, but some items were so rare that the cast had to be extra careful not to damage them. Costume designer Amy Paris revealed that Eleven's colourful season 3 jumpsuit wasn't a replica, it was an actual one-of-a-kind vintage piece. We got really lucky, she told Tudum. You often need multiples, but there's only one. With no backups, it meant no room for on-set wardrobe malfunctions. Dacre Montgomery had to lose the abs. Dacre Montgomery made quite an impression as a volatile Billy Hargrove, but he actually had to lose muscle to play the role. Coming off his shredded look from Power Rangers, Montgomery had to dial it back to look more like a regular 80s teen. He told Men's Health that he upped his carb intake and switched to lighter weight training to soften his physique. The goal? A more believable, chunky, muscly teenage bully, not a superhero. It was a rare case of Hollywood asking an actor to bulk down instead of up. Joe Keery also had to change his body. Ironically, while Montgomery had to tone it down, Joe Keery trained hard for a storyline that never made it to screen. In early scripts, Steve Harrington was supposed to be a competitive swimmer, so Keery spent weeks swimming and training, expecting to rock a Speedo at some point. I was doing all this prep, Keery told Late Night with Seth Meyers. Then we show up the first day and they were like, oh yeah, we cut that. His hard-earned swimmer body? Well, never seen. Still, it shows how seriously he took the role, even if it didn't pan out. No cell phones on set. Unlike the 80s, today's teens are glued to their phones, right? But on the Stranger Things set, the kids had to put them away. Cell phones were banned during filming, both to avoid distractions and again to prevent leaks. Offset though, the cast made up for it with group chats. The younger actors had their own thread, while the older cast members weren't included. Joe Keery and Maya Hawke joked to Access Hollywood that they were too old to be part of it, and Natalia Dyer confirmed that while they weren't in the kids' chat, the older cast eventually started their own meme-filled thread about fan theories and shipping rumours. Growing up in the spotlight, the young Stranger Things cast, many of whom were just kids when the show began, had to adapt quickly to the professional world of acting. From adhering to strict grooming rules to learning not to accidentally leak plot twists, they learned the business fast. And while their characters faced monsters and mayhem, the real challenge for these young actors was growing up under Netflix's microscope. But you know what? It paid off. These rules not only kept the show on track, but helped launch the careers of its stars. Today, the Stranger Things cast are household names, in-demand actors, and proof that a little structure goes a long way when building a TV phenomenon. Which among them is your best actor? Well, let us know in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.